to the MMA Fan Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Stu and Blake.
Hello and welcome to the MMA Fan Show. I'm Stu Whiffin. Joining me again in Blake Harrison's absence, I'm joined by Mr. Scroobius Pip. How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I appreciate you giving up your time to join us again and cover for Blake.
I'm excited to chat, and I'm excited that Blake is no doubt smashing it out there. Now the hurricanes and storms and power cuts are over.
He was so worried about that, right? And do you know what his biggest worry was? That there might be a power cut and he couldn't play Xbox and he might have to read a book. That was his worry. I might have to read a book.
I love that you're sitting there as if you've got a bookcase behind you and you're spending your evenings at candlelight reading books.
No, I'm
Every
not.
time you talk on your podcast about a book you've recently read, I'm like, tell them it was an audio book.
Of course it was.
Stop saying, I read this really good autobiography recently. Did you? Or did you listen to one?
Just listen to it when I was having a walk. Well, look, before we chat fights, let's chat sweeties. And I want to talk about Fat Candy. They are
Fat Candy.
Fat Candy. You got some props from Blake. You liked your impression of him.
Yeah, it's got to be done. You got to pay respect to Fat Candy.
Exactly. Fat Candy are freeze-dried sweets. They're wonderful. Pip is testament to that. He's bought some. And I recommend you buy the little mixed bag because in that you get a bit of everything and you can work out which one you like the most and then go and order a great big tub of them.
After I was on last time and I was saying how I'd ordered some and I was promoting the fact that because they're bigger, I eat less, so it works as kind of a good thing for eating. I've got a very sweet tooth anyway. I realised that when I did order some, I don't think I used your code.
Oh, really? Amazing.
I think I forgot to. I think I just went, oh, yeah, I'll look up that Fat Candy.
Brilliant. Well, don't make that mistake, people. Use the discount code SWEETMMA and that will save you money when you buy your goodies from Fat Candy. So go over there and have a look. The least you can do is go and give them a follow on the socials because they are the people that sponsor this show. So big love to Fat Candy. Anyway, Pip, you're here today to discuss everything that went down in the weekend just gone at UFC 314.
I'm going to just quickly adjust one of my lights because the tone in our skin is just so far off.
Is this just, have you organised this with Brian and Blake just to take the piss out of the fact that I always look orange when I'm in this room?
I mean, you do. Oh, when you're in that room. Yeah. Now there you go. It's a bit closer.
Okay, yeah, you're not as pasty as Blake. Blake looks super pasty next to me.
Well, the good thing now is that Blake can say it's for work because obviously he has to legally look pasty for this whole shoot. So
absolutely. Right. Well, look, let's start at the very top. And
well, I mean, just first of all, how good was this card? It's the feel good card of the summer, right? It's just so feel good. Everything. We won't get into it massively, I'm sure, but the only negative was the entire Trump cabinet in the crowd. Like, do you remember when they used to cut to the crowd and it'd be like Cameron Diaz or like the guy from the Red Hot Chili Peppers and
or Scroobius Pip.
Or Scroobius Pip. Yeah, they've cut to me in the crowd before, yeah. And now they're cut into a load of dusty old politicians. It doesn't feel very cool. But that aside, just thing after thing in this event was so feel good. It felt like they'd written all the happy endings for everyone, if you know what I mean. Like there were no matches that you kind of like. UFC London was the opposite of that. We kind of came out of that going, it was probably quite a decent card, but because there was a few not happy endings. Like when we talked about it, we were like, well, this was good on the undercard, whereas this, it felt like I didn't particularly know I had the desired outcomes as such, because there's a lot of fights I just want a good fight, but almost every outcome on this was like, yes, brilliant, I'm happy. So yeah, it's good to have a feel good card for a change.
I mean, we got the perfect ending in Volk versus Lopez because I think I even said I want it to go 5 rounds. I want Lopez's stock to not drop, and I want Volk to walk away with the belt. But the dream for me would have been if he would have just took his gloves off and gone, right, I'm done now. But
No way. I think he looked so good, though. I think he looked
he
like
did.
there were points. I think he had moments where he looked a bit panicked, but I think there were moments where he looked as good as Volk has ever looked, kind of thing. I'm not saying it's his best performance ever, but there were moments where his footwork and everything just looked absolutely astounding. I think.
And that's with a potential hand injury early on in the fight as well.
Yeah. He said he hurt his hand early on. I mean, we've got to discuss at this point: was Lopez really the man to be in a title shot at this stage in his career? Because he's looked good, but he's blitzed people generally, and yeah.
And I think, and I'm not mad at it. What I will say just before we carry on, have you got anything else open on your laptop at the moment? Because there's a little bit of lag with you every once in a while.
I've not.
Okay.
I've not got anything. Let me just. Oh no, I've got one Steam, but that's no.
Okay, right, no problem.
We'll see how it goes.
So yeah, I mean, I think that Lopez style of swarming and trying.
I can't believe you just crisped me. I can't believe you just treated me like your other podcast co-host Chris Glasson and asked if I had any other tabs open.
Well,
how dare you?
I checked mine first because I know you're super organised, and I was thinking, right, what's going on here? He's lagging a little bit. But
I have no idea what's happened there.
But I think that style of Lopez, where he sort of swarms, I think that was testament to Volk being able to sort of control that distance and pace of the fight. I think he kind of made Lopez fight his fight, and I think that's what that is what a champion does.
Yeah, I think so. My only thing was my thoughts instantly went to like Tapuria, because there was a couple of times that Lopez caught him.
Yeah,
but he didn't have the footwork or ring cutting to make the most of it. As I said, he's a swarm person, and Volk, even if he's rocked, has got the footwork, the fight smarts to get out of that. And I was instantly thinking of an Ilya, for example, would just be cutting that ring, and doing further damage. But yeah, it was fantastic, and Volk looked amazing. The lead up was great. Volk did some more great promo, and yeah, it's just great to see Volk with the belt again, isn't it?
Oh, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And in answer to your question, sorry, I sort of spoke about his fight style rather than should he have been there for that shot. I wasn't mad at it. Like,
I wasn't mad at it until we got a few rounds in, and then I was like, oh, this feels like it's a different class, you know?
So who would you have put in there?
Or, I mean, what's his name? Who was meant to have the title shot against Ilya?
Evloev?
Yeah, Evloev. Evloev was lined up to have the title shot. Evloev obviously beat Lopez in Lopez's debut, so
lost to Arnold Allen, but got the win.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. On paper, has got the win, but yeah, I'm not too fussed on that either. At the when the match was announced, I thought absolutely fine. It was just there was a few moments in there that it felt, oh, is this? Have people got overexcited about Lopez?
Yeah, and I think I think that the UFC realised that Lopez, the fans love him. You know, he's got a really nice manner about him. You know, super respectful all the time. Apart from when something happens between him and Yair Rodriguez in a media scrum, and it all goes a bit weird. But apart from that, I think he's got way more star quality than Movsar, and I think the UFC know that. And I think at a time when maybe some of their champs are not got that kind of, O'Malley rock and roll vibe to them that's very marketable, I think they maybe see, someone like Lopez as being a better person that could have the belt. But I mean, they've got their dream come true. They've got Volk, and everybody loves Volk.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, because last time I was on, we talked about how it's not the most exciting era of champions. Is the featherweight belt, or I think this week it confirmed, the featherweight belt is the most prestigious belt in UFC history, right?
Yeah.
With Volk winning it back, you look at the champions at featherweight, and it's throughout the whole history of featherweight, you've had Aldo, McGregor, Holloway, Volk, Topuria, and Holloway again. Everyone who's ever held this belt is going to be a Hall of Famer.
Mm.
How mad is that? You've not got that in any other division.
I'm just looking through the rankings of the other divisions as well. That's such a good point. That's such a
like
good point.
Even the current champs or previous champs, you've got people in there. Like, again, with all due disrespect, like Strickland isn't going to be. Strickland isn't a legendary champion. So there's loads of every other weight class has got these champs that felt like a transitional champs or whatever else. But yeah, to go Aldo, McGregor, Holloway, Volk, Topuria as the only people who've ever held this belt, it's like they could all be in the discussion for, like in the pound for pound.
Yeah,
like all timers.
Well, let's not discuss pound for pound. Let's discuss GOAT in that division. Has Volk done enough now to be, to surpass Aldo and to surpass Conor? Do we see him now as the GOAT?
It's tough, isn't it? Because he won a vacated belt.
True.
That's always tough when you win a vacated belt, when someone has got your number and they've moved up. And obviously Ilya has totally just moved up, without a title shot confirmed or anything, totally just for fun, just dropped the belt for fun. I teased last time I was on, I've got theories on this, and these aren't the beliefs of the MMA Fan Show, but I think he's popped. I think he's popped for something. A year ago, when the UFC stopped working with USADA, they no longer have to declare if someone pops. So they only have to give like a 6-month ban, a 3-month ban, or whatever. They don't have to make it public. And I just can't see any other logical reason. Like, I understand him moving up and vacating the belt. I think that's a cool thing. But surely you announce his title fight at the same time as he's vacating. Surely you don't just go, oh, he's vacating and we'll get round to, like, it's been a month. It's been a month since it was announced he vacated.
I mean, we're recording this on the 15th, and I think there's some announcements being made today. I don't know if it's Ilya, but it's just weird. As said, I'm not one to accuse people, but it surprised me that no one talked of anything like that, because everyone was like, it doesn't really make any sense. When, again, if you've not got a title shot, or, I mean, there's talk of Makhachev moving up to welterweight. So if there's not like an interim or a vacated, it's just, it was odd timing, particularly with the announcement. They were like, the former Bellator champ is coming over, and the second the bell rings, that belt is vacated, and similarly, the second the bell rings here, that all these different things. It's like, I don't know. There was a lot of unfinished business for him at featherweight, and it felt strange. I'm not saying, I necessarily agree with what you're saying. I think it's a very interesting point.
Yeah.
What I will say is that I am surprised at the lack of clarification around anything as to
any
why.
Explanation, the faintest of explanation.
It's been a little shrouded, and maybe there'll be an announcement today. Maybe it will be a Makhachev fight. I'll be surprised. I'm curious to see what. But comes out of this.
I mean, to stop derailing and getting conspiracy theorist on you, it doesn't really. It makes it leaves a question mark over if you can call Volk the GOAT, because he so recently got so comfortably handled by a guy. But then Ilya, as I said, moved up before really clearing out the division. There's loads of different contenders there that he's not fought. So it's a tough one, isn't it?
So what do you see as being the next fight? Because it's watching the post-fight press conference, Volk's definitely not handing up his hanging up his gloves. That's the phrase, isn't it? And he seems to be leaning towards Yair. We'll obviously get onto Yair's performance in a while. There was no mention of Evloev from Volk that I was aware of. It seemed to be I think if Pitbull would have put in some kind of incredible performance, I think that could have been a conversation that was in the mix as well.
Completely. A couple
But
of little lads
yeah,
going at it.
yeah. But I think, you know, Yair's gone up in the rankings now. He's now ranked fourth. Um, I mean, do we want to see Max fight Volk again? I don't think so. I think there's other fights out there for Max that'll be exciting.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, every Max Volk fight has been amazing, so I wouldn't be furious. It's just mad
Yeah,
to think they could have another one.
yeah. But yeah, I think Yair he's probably going to be next, and I think we need to, you know, not not count out the fact that in ranked sixth and eighth is Lerone Murphy and Arnold Allen,
Hmm.
and they should be in the mix of things. I'm really curious to know where Arnold's at with injury. He seems to be plagued by injury, and I hope it doesn't take too much of a toll on his career because he seems to be injured quite a lot, and that's worrying because I imagine Arnold Allen's never one to turn a fight down. I think he's the guy that's going to turn up and scrap with whoever the UFC give him. But I think with the way that Lerone's been going, I think there's some exciting things. And I don't think Lerone's too far away from a title shot. I think one more big win in
Or
them sort of upper echelons, and I think he's in the mix.
or that's the problem I have with that division at the moment. I guess is I don't think anyone's particularly earned a title shot.
Mm,
Like Yair's looked good, but he's one of the most inactive fighters
yeah.
in recent history. Like, what is it? I think he's won five times in 8 years or something. I think I heard the other day. It's not a lot of activity and it's not a lot of wins. And he looked good,
Yeah.
but same with Lerone. Really, he looked good, but it didn't have me screaming for a title shot
No.
instantly.
No.
Um, and
It
then
was a
yeah, there's
comfortable win, but it wasn't fireworks, was it? It wasn't
nah.
something that the UFC are going, wow. Like,
We've got to put him in there against Volk.
yeah.
And again, there's this question mark over Evloev over what's going on there. It felt like Evloev had earned it, but if pulling out of that shot or that opportunity has put a question mark over that, it's a tough division. Someone, I mean, it's a tough division, but it's also a division open to someone to come in and do something exciting and earn a title shot swiftly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. At 36, Volk has become the oldest fighter under 155 pounds to win UFC gold, which is fantastic.
How many
Um,
years? How many years older than Volker you, Stu? If we do the maths, as he's the oldest champ.
oh, I'm going to do it for this. Probably will come out after my birthday, but I'm going to
Right.
go at 51 now rather than 52. Yeah,
Yeah.
Volk's 36, so
So 15 years and if we go off next year, it's a 16-year-old, a full adult.
Paddy Pimblett fought Michael Chandler in the co-main event. You prick, and
Mate, at least I didn't ask to compare the weight classes. Go on.
yeah. Right. In the co-main, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett
Yeah.
defeated Michael Chandler by TKO in round three. I mean, I think this, for me, was one of the most fantastic performances, certainly the best performance of Paddy's career, I think,
Yeah.
and definitely legitimised a lot of doubt, a lot of doubts that people have had over him. I think this was a really impressive performance.
He looked amazing. He looked amazing everywhere as well. He was beating him on the feet, on the ground. He was ragdolling him. He was big brothering him.
Yeah.
You go into this and you think this feels like a young lad against a grown man. Even though Chandler's smaller, he's just a
Mm.
unit, isn't he? But that wasn't the case at all. He absolutely, yeah, he dominated and looked fantastic.
I think we should talk about Paddy's striking because I
Hmm.
think that was for me the thing that had really improved. But I mean, we didn't get to see too much of it against Bobby Green,
Yeah,
where I think that could have been an
I think
opportunity
his
to see.
striking and his wrestling in this, they both look great. Like his grappling's always been good, but he's not been particularly like he picked Chandler up and slammed him.
Yeah.
Like, he's not particularly been doing
Yeah.
that in the past. So yeah, but I completely agree. I think his striking looked fantastic, and yeah, he looked just in complete control.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this was a weird one. A lot of people ahead of it was like, this could go either way. Like you could see either one steamrolling the other. Like if Chandler had come out and just put a beating on Pimblett, no one would have been surprised. But then equally, like this didn't feel that surprising. It just he looked fantastic.
And I think he was just his counter strikes were fantastic when Chandler was throwing, and multiple times he'd sort of clip him and Chandler would move back, and the way that Paddy would move across the octagon with a sort of a barrage of kicks and punches and like literally chasing him round. It was really impressive, and
I mean, a few of them kicks were wild. Like a few times when he had him a bit rocked, it was like he was just jumping about, just trying to get any contact with the lad. But yeah,
but that's what people. They're the highlights you're going to see. You're going to see them wild kicks as he's running across the octagon. It's like know, and as respectful as he's been throughout, the minute he got that win, he went to the camera, he licked the blood off his hands, and it was like, he knows what's going to work to make him an even bigger star. He knows what he's got to do to get that title shot. And I think he just works it so well now.
And, people talk about doing tape studying and game planning. He knows what to do if he's tape studied Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
Michael Chandler was in the top 10, was in the co-main event. He's 2-5 in the UFC. He's won 2 fights in his whole UFC career against the Dan Hooker and I think Tony Ferguson. So again, people that depending on when you've caught them aren't necessarily in that top end yet. He's a superstar.
Yeah.
And he's this huge name. So Paddy's completely right there of going, right, I need to make this memorable because I've also got the record to back it up or the wins. Whereas, as said, Chandler was the big star there. And yeah, it was only when I was having a bit of a dig that it was like, oh, that's mad that you're in the co-main event. And at that point, you had twice as many losses as you had wins in the UFC. And now it's more than that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Paddy can really learn from that and go, right, it's all about the excitement. And that's what he did. He put on a really exciting performance and then he celebrated well. He spoke well. The comedy of swearing of every other sentence. And then when you get to calling them a name, you call them a mushroom or a sausage or whatever else. It's endlessly amusing. So yeah, the kid smashed it.
So I mean, there's always going to be fun fights for Michael Chandler. I mean, he's dropped out of the top 10 now, but he is a big name, and I don't think his stock has massively dropped. I think
It can't. How could it have dropped further when he didn't have a good record, yet his stock was great?
Yeah. But I think fans are always going to want to watch Michael Chandler fight, and I think there is some fun fights out there for him. But
what do you reckon? Who would you pick? Pitbull.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
Surely, they had their Bellator kind of. They're the two Bellator like icons.
That's a great
Chandler
shout.
and Pitbull.
That's a great shout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised
it just makes
if that
perfect
happens.
sense.
Yeah. Why have I not considered that? That makes a lot of sense.
Because there's no one else, like Pitbull hasn't earned a ranking off of his performance, but he is a big star still. Chandler, you're going to be hard to convince people he should be fighting a top person after, with his record. So yeah, Pitbull, surely.
Yeah, that's a great shout. But so post-fight, Paddy, I mean, he called out a few people.
He called out everyone, didn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, why not? You've got that mic in your hand. You've got the biggest platform, literally right there, and make it happen. Gaethje's in the crowd. Called out Gaethje. Called out Charles, and that's the fight I'd like to see.
Charles
Oliveira.
I'd like to see Gaethje.
Really?
I think Paddy Gaethje's a really interesting one. I think I've always felt Charles is maybe the best. You know, I know you guys haven't particularly agreed, I don't think, but I felt him having a rematch with Makachev was maybe the best chance of Makachev losing, because I know he lost to Makachev, but the first round of that, it was competitive and all that. So I just feel, I feel Gaethje's a far more winnable fight
Yeah.
For Paddy, and would just be wildly exciting. Obviously Oliveira would as well. I'm down for both, but I think Oliveira's slightly better everywhere than Paddy, whereas with Gaethje, I think he doesn't. We need to stop talking about him being a Division One wrestler and all that kind of thing, because he's never used any of his wrestling in MMA. So I think Paddy, certainly his defensive wrestling would stand up to anything of Gaethje. His striking looked great. His distance management was great. And then obviously Gaethje isn't much of a submission guy, so I think we'd get a great fight. But I think Paddy would have a really good chance of winning it and getting a title shot off the bat. But I think Charlie Olives, again, yeah, I'm up for it. I just think if I was Paddy, I'd pick Gaethje over Oliveira.
I mean, Gaethje's ranked third and Oliveira's second, and obviously we shouldn't overlook Ahmed Sarukian in these conversations.
Well, that's the person he kind of called out the most,
Yeah.
because he was respectful to the other two and then said, I'm not interested in Sarukian. He's I can't remember if it was a mushroom or a tomato or some kind of whatever breakfast food item he chose on the day.
Yeah. But I think they were having some back and forth on socials, I believe. And from what we know, Sarukian's not getting that shot next. You know, I think the UFC are punishing him for whatever happened ahead of his proposed fight against Makhachev. So I think that leaves Sarukian needing one more win. And I'm wondering who that's going to be against, because just looking at Paddy's at 8, so just to sort of rattle through the rankings, above Paddy, Gamrot, Hooker, Poirier, Holloway, Gaethje, Oliveira, and then obviously Sarukian, number 1, Makhachev, the champ.
You know what? This sounds insane, but I would say Paddy has a good chance against all of them. I'd say the biggest ones I feel a threat are Sarukian, Oliveira, and Holloway. I think Holloway is just Holloway, but I'd rate his chances against Gamrot or Hooker. Poirier, yeah, he's getting on. I doubt he'd pick that as his, because he's saying he's just got his retirement fight to go, isn't he? Really, I think Poirier said, I doubt he'll choose Paddy for that, but. Yeah, and Gaethje, I think, could have a good chance. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's going to plow over everyone and get the title, but
I wonder if Max is in, because Max wasn't mentioned in any of them conversations, and I don't know. I don't know if Paddy just looks at a potential fight with Max and thinks that could be problematic. But I suppose it depends at what weight Max is.
And you can't mention everyone, I guess. You can't mention everyone.
Yeah, that's Conor McGregor's job.
Yeah.
But all right. So, I mean, this is going to put a big smile on your face. We saw Bryce Mitchell submitted with his eyes wide open in round 2
out, eyes
against
open.
Jean Silva.
Yeah.
What did you make of that fight?
I was barking in my living room along with Jean Silva.
I mean, he looked great,
I was
didn't he?
up on the sofa, barking at the TV. He looked fantastic. He looked a league above him. Again, I saw a lot of people in the lead up saying that people are forgetting how good Bryce is because of all the Hitler stuff and just all the dumb stuff. People are forgetting how good Bryce is. Well, he didn't look like it. He just Silva, if anything, I felt was being a bit too cute with it all. It felt like he could have finished him earlier, but he wanted either a spinning kick knockout or a spinning elbow knockout. It looked like there was a fair few times he was like, right, I want a highlight reel here. But yeah, he looked amazing.
And that's thrown him in the mix as well now. He's jumped this week. He's ranked 11th because obviously he wasn't in the rankings. You'll be pleased to know Bryce Mitchell seems to have disappeared from the rankings.
Yeah, he's slipped off the edge of the flat Earth.
And yeah, so I'm interested what could be next for John Silva, because I wonder how many people looked at that and thought, I don't really fancy that. Like, because he's a dangerous looking guy and he just comes at you. And
look good everywhere as well. Again, he's another one that looks good everywhere. They've got that hype from fighting nerds. Yeah, I think he looks great. I don't know what he was doing. He kept hanging off the cage and barking.
Yeah.
Loved it.
I think he was trying to get a photo with Trump in the background.
Right.
I think that's what he was trying to do. I might be wrong, but he kept going over to where they were and
again
the fence.
the fact that Bryce got choked unconscious, eyes open in front of Trump and Musk and Vance and all of those just sat there. It was it's the feel good card of the summer. I'm telling you, it's the feel good card of the summer.
Yeah, I mean, just looking above Silva now, Josh Emmett's dropped to 10, and then you've got Aljo, Lerone, Ortega, Allen, and then obviously the others that we spoke about earlier in the top 5. So I hope they don't go, oh, Allen fights anyone, let's give him Silva, because I don't want to see that fight. I
don't think they're going to rush him for some reason. I think there's enough going on in that upper echelons. I could see them giving him Josh Emmett. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's some options there at that lower level. And again that those fighting nerds seem to want to remain active as well. So I could see him just going, give me whoever, and we'll keep getting wins, we'll keep getting highlights, and keep barking.
Okay. Right. So we've mentioned Yair and we've mentioned Pitbull, but we've not really discussed their fight. This was not the big kind of welcome into the UFC that I think Pitbull wanted. He really struggled in this fight. I thought Yair just dominated him, controlled him, and made it look a bit easy. I thought Pitbull looked, in the post-fight, they were talking to Dana about that, how you can freeze sometimes. However big you are in other organisations, the UFC is a different setup. And I don't know.
If you're not a wrestler, Yair's a complicated thing to have in front of you. The angles he throws at, the movement, everything is weird. I didn't like the commentary narrative of there's levels to this. I think it's undeniable that Pitbull is a fantastic fighter. He's really good. He's maybe not in his prime or at his peak anymore, but he's really good.
Yeah. But he just couldn't get going. People struggle with Yair. It's not a great matchup. If you want to come in and showcase what you do, the last thing you want to do, and to echo what you said, is to have a very complex striker throwing from all over the place.
And with the height and range difference, as someone who swarms and is that kind of fighter, Yair will keep on his toes. He will keep you at distance with his jab. He will pivot off and throw weird elbows and weird knees that make it hard to swarm and hard to just go wild as Pitbull is known for. So it was a tough matchup from the off, but Yair did what Yair had to do.
And I think looking at what's next, you made such a great shout there, Michael Chandler for Pitbull. That makes so much sense. I
think so. I think they'll have an exciting, wonderful fight, and no one loses face. I always think there's an element with Dana of when people come over from our other organisations of giving them really hard tests.
Yeah.
Because if they win, he gets a superstar. If they lose, he gets to go, well, it's not easy when you come into the UFC. It's not easy at this level and all that kind of thing. So Chandler and Pitbull, you don't have to have any of that nonsense. You can just have a wild one.
Absolutely. And I hear from what we're hearing and what we've, the fighters have spoke about post-fight, then potentially he may be next for Volk. We'll have to wait
I'd
and
like
see.
him to get another win. I'd like him to get another win to earn that, but I can see why. He's really good. He's got great highlights. He's an exciting fighter. And he only just fought,
Yeah, and I mean, just sort of looking who he's gone above Movsar now.
Mm-hmm.
And the only fighters that are ranked above him are Lopez, Holloway, and Topuria. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and how many of them are even in the weight class?
Exactly that. Two of them probably aren't. And
yeah,
interesting.
It's valid. I mean, I think Volk handles him comfortably. I think Volk has got that fight intelligence to work around, and I'm not against Volk returning to being that active champion who's just showing us how good he is,
If it
rather
means
than
we get
fighting
more
people bigger.
videos of Volk, the record producer, then I'm all over it, mate. Because them, like the fact that he makes time in his schedule to do that shit is fantastic. What an absolute legend.
Again, it's slightly mind-boggling that he didn't take more time to learn what a record producer is, because that was just him singing in different outfits. So it wasn't really producing, but it was amazing. If people haven't seen the video, go and give that a look. It was fantastic stuff.
It is absolutely superb. And then, opening the main card, Dominic Reyes KO'd Krylov.
Again, another, I thought, absolute feel-good moment, because Reyes has had such a tough time of things in recent years, and to get such a beautiful, clean knockout, it just felt heartwarming. It felt like, because again, Reyes does seem to be just a good guy, but he's just had some knockouts, had some rough moments. But
had a win over John Jones.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was unbeatable until that John Jones fight, when you could argue he remained unbeatable. But after that, he's had such a rough run. So that felt really positive and beautiful to see.
Absolutely. I mean, we won't go massively into anything else that happened at the weekend. There was a lot of discussion about the Dan Ige win and a potential early stoppage.
Weird stoppage, yeah.
I agree. I thought it was too early. He was clearly getting up. But yeah, I did feel for him a bit. I thought that was a bit too early.
Yeah, I agree. That was rough. He didn't seem in any bad kind of condition. Again, I generally am on the side of I'd rather an early stoppage than a late stoppage, but this didn't look like it was a correct one. He looked absolutely fine. Swarmed a bit.
I want to discuss a few other little bits outside of the event that.
Quickly,
go on.
Jandiroba looked amazing.
Yeah, I mean, she's got to be
absolutely dominated.
She's got to be in the mix of things now, right?
Yeah. I thought just looked absolutely fantastic. I didn't see that as an easy matchup for her at all, but she made it look like that. That felt like easily her biggest challenge, and she just absolutely seemed at home and
I mean,
completely relaxed.
She's now ranked, number one. So
rightfully so.
Let's see what happens with Zhang, but fantastic win over Jinan. Speaking of women's UFC, great to see Amanda Nunes get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Apparently she didn't know about that. I'm presuming she was there for all the media stuff between Kayla Harrison and
Juliana Pena.
And and yeah, things got a little bit spicy in that kind of media stuff ahead of it. And I thought, excuse me, I don't. I don't think Pena does herself many favors in when she starts talking. I think like
No.
she never used to be like that. She used to seem. I always felt that she seemed far more likable. She
On
seems
the
to
Ultimate
just
Fighter, on
yeah,
the Ultimate Fighter, she seemed incredibly likable, really good, incredibly humble. And then she had that horrible gym injury
yeah,
that put her out for ages. And she seemed to, I guess, in that period, you had the dawn of your Connors and
yeah,
maybe your Colbys starting to come in and things like that. And she's just steered into that kind of nonsense. I don't think she's likable, but particularly in the Nunes era, you needed a villain.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Nunes is always going to be the hero in,
yeah,
in that scenario. So she needed a villain. And I guess similar with Kayla as the big all American, all American hero. So
it's a massive fight. Couldn't really understand why she was like would not put that microphone down anytime anyone else was speaking. She would just like cut across people, and it was like I'm not feeling this, and it was kind of yeah. It
yeah,
did not make me like her anymore.
she's not likable and she's not trying to be likable. And the only problem there is she's not necessarily shown the in octagon dominance
Yeah,
to balance that. So
yeah,
I think a lot of people will be tuning in to see her get slammed through the mat.
yeah, yeah,
And then Nunes essentially being the first person to, in the same weekend, be inducted into the Hall of the Fame and come out of retirement,
yeah,
essentially. So
yeah.
it's yeah, it's like this is a wonderful, weird thing.
Look, if
But
if
yeah,
if 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 Kayla wins, and we get Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes, I'm all over that. I think
mhm,
that's a really fun fight.
absolutely. And as much as Juliana has been hateable, she's also setting that up that if she was to win, she's been slagging off Nunes since she
Forever.
beat her the first time. So it's
Yeah,
like it does. She has set herself up there to have, if she gets past Kayla, to have
yeah,
another huge fight. Whereas, yeah, otherwise it might have been we only get Nunes back if Kayla wins. And again, I
yeah,
think Kayla is going to win, but yeah.
yeah. And a very humble O'Malley at the media stuff. Uh,
I didn't catch any of O'Malley.
yeah, so obviously at the press conference, Marab and Sugar were there,
Yeah.
and Marab was being very respectful, but but being fun. He come out with the red leather on and the little
Yeah.
baby Sugar in his little carry bag,
Yeah.
and
You say respectful. I don't know.
like, but no, he was saying obviously he's a great fighter. He said he's obviously going to make adjustments now from the
Yeah.
first fight and stuff. But Sugar seemed very quiet, and
Right.
yeah, I mean, is that the right fight? I don't know. Is it a fun fight? Is
Yeah.
it an opportunity to get one of their poster boys, with a belt wrapped around him? Yes. Do I
And
think
again, who else are you putting in there?
true? True.
It's weird times because a lot of these divisions have had so much movement in recent years. It's hard to gauge, and I think Sugar is similar to Paddy in a lot of ways. That all the bravado and character means people sometimes forget how fucking good he is.
Hmm.
Like he's very, very good, and sometimes um, because he looked a bit brittle in those early days and things like that. I think people forget how great he is. So yeah, I think it's an interesting matchup. Sugar is capable of beating anyone on his day.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm sure we'll talk more about that as that event draws closer. Um, all that really leaves me to say is go check out Fat Candy and use that discount code Sweet MMA. And lastly, to thank you, Mr. Scroobius Pip, for being an absolute gent and jumping in to cover for Blake again. Thank you,
It's
mate.
been a pleasure, mate. It's been a pleasure. Always good to chat. I said the last time I was on, we were talking about how it feels like a bit of a. There's not been many exciting events. It's been a bit of a dry patch, and then we've just had this amazing weekend that turns all that around. So
absolutely
love to see it.
Absolutely. Right. We'll be back next time. And thanks again for listening. Hit subscribe and and head over to YouTube and you can watch this as well. All right. We'll see you soon.
Fuck Donald Trump.